Welcome back to Network USA TV. I have one of our first guests here, Henry Montag from the Tolley Center East. Henry, how are you today?
Good being here. Thanks for the invite.
No, I thank you. You know, first and foremost, before we even get into you, I just want to show people in our magazine, Long Island Magazine for Entrepreneurs, you actually were so grateful. Thank you very much. You actually wrote a beautiful article for us.
And by the way, and I've gotten some really good feedback.
You have?
That.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Here is his ad in the magazine, okay, with his beautiful picture.
Thank you.
All about it. So definitely try to pick up Long Island Magazine for Entrepreneurs and Henry Montag and definitely read it. So again,
some good advice.
I
thank
thank
you
you for that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Speaking of the good advice, I know that you do a lot. You do a lot in regarding the life insurance and estate planning. Tell our viewers a little bit, a little background about you, how you got into the business, and what exactly do you do, and how are you different from everybody else?
No, great questions. I've been doing this since 1976, and being part of the industry, there's an awful lot that's gone on in the industry that I'm proud of, and there are some things that have gone on in the industry that I'm not so proud of. And I'm now getting the opportunity to go back and specifically address some of those things. Back in the 80s, you may not remember, but interest rates...
I wasn't even born. Wait,
well, that's why you wouldn't remember. You just made it. But back then, interest rates were very, very high. And with interest rates being as high as they were, and insurance contracts paying as little as they did, what wound up happening is that people began leaving their insurance contracts, leaving the money that they had in their cash values of insurance contracts, and putting it into the banks. Now, the insurance industry is a pretty smart industry, and they realized that they had to do something to stop that tremendous outflow. So what they eventually did is they created a new product, and it was a new product that paid the same competitive interest rates that the banks did. Well, that was great, but what the insurance industry neglected to tell the consumers is that the interest rates were not fixed, and that as interest rates changed, if they went up, then people would have more coverage, but if they went down, then people would have less coverage. And in fact, as we know, interest rates went down from the 17, 18% down to where we are right now at 3%. And as a result, many people's life insurance are expiring years earlier than they should. And what I'm trying to do now is advise those people, and I'm trying to do it through their advisors, through their accountants, through their attorneys.
So you're basically like a consultant. Someone would come to you and you say, listen, I may have a problem. Can you help me out? You would come in and basically check out their policy and see where they can go.
That would be the ideal situation, but unfortunately, people aren't even aware that they have a problem. And it's not just that the sons and the daughters or the owners of the contracts that they're aware, it's that their advisors aren't even aware that they have a problem. So if people aren't aware that there's a problem, no one is coming to me. But what I'm doing through the Tolley Center, and by the way, the Tolley Center stands for Trust-Owned Life Insurance. So what I'm doing is I'm actually going out and providing information to the accountants, to the attorneys, and letting them know that there's a problem and that it should be evaluated, that their contract is not just something that they buy and hold, but instead it's something just like their stock portfolio. Right. It's something that they would buy and manage.
I know
should manage.
No, definitely. I know that. I've done my research on you, and I know you're very famous in the outside world regarding estate and what you're describing about. I know you've been on Fox News. I know you've been on CNN. I've known that you actually have written articles for the Bar Association, for the CPA associations. Explain to our viewers and to me exactly where we can find those articles if they still exist, and how and what these articles are about, so people can read up on you and see how they can use you and your services.
Well, the articles are basically written for the professional. Basically, and one of the few times that I've written to the general public was in your magazine, because I do want to reach your audience. Your audience are the ultimate beneficiaries of these life insurance contracts that have been in place, that have been sold over the last 25, 30 years. But basically, it's the New York State Bar Association, it's the State Society of CPAs, it's the National Conference of CPA Practitioners. We're reaching out to the professional community. When I say I, it's myself and my partner. We're reaching out to the professional community. We're doing it by way of continuing education credits for accountants, for attorneys.
That's great.
And we're trying to get the word out there.
No, that's great. Coming from coming from the insurance background, I always heard that life insurance is guaranteed or something to that effect, or pay your premium and you're guaranteed something. Can you go a little in depth? Because I know you mentioned earlier that you said about being guaranteed and now it's not guaranteed. Can you just go into that a little bit so our viewers understand when it comes to life insurance, what is guaranteed actually, and what is the universal life that you speak of?
All right, it's a great question. Life insurance is basically made up of three individual parts. We've got term insurance, which we know is guaranteed for a period of time. We've got whole life insurance, which if someone pays their premium each and every year and they don't rely on dividends, then that contract is guaranteed and it'll be here for the rest of the person's life. But then there's another category called flexible premium life insurance. And that's the universal life insurance, that's the variable life insurance, that's the adjustable life insurance, it's the new indexed annuity life insurance. Those contracts are not guaranteed. But the problem is that people keep thinking that life insurance is guaranteed, but it's not. This new life insurance, the trade-off for a higher interest rate or to participate in the interest rate is that their products are not guaranteed and that they can expire, and that's in fact what's happening.
Isn't their agent or their broker, shouldn't they help? Shouldn't they know what's going on? Shouldn't they realize what's happening in the change of universal?
You mentioned an interesting word, should. A broker should stay in touch with his or her clients. The insurance company does what it should do. It should provide an annual statement once a year. But what do most people do with those annual statements when they come in? They put them in that same bottom right-hand drawer that they placed their life insurance in. People aren't aware. People aren't on top of it. And no, the insurance industry is not doing, as far as I'm concerned, a good enough job of letting people know that their life insurance possibly may be in danger. And it's not even possibly. Basically, 38% of existing life insurance is in danger of lapsing prematurely. And that's a specific number.
So explain to the viewers and to myself, if someone needs you, let's say someone needs your services and they're hearing you and they're reading your articles, what are the steps, or how does someone contact you, and how do you go? Because I know a lot of advisors, unfortunately, are very pushy and people don't really like that. So what is your approach? How can somebody reach you and take it from there?
Well, let me answer the first question first. No, my intention is not necessarily to sell anybody new insurance. And that's really part of the reason that people say that life insurance people are pushy. What we do is we act as consultants to examine and to reintroduce somebody to what they already have, to what they already own. What we're trying to do, and we charge a fee, so there's no commission involved. We charge a fee and have people begin understanding what it is that they have and how they might be able to better manage what they have to make certain that it lasts. People can reach me either at the website, Henry at thetolicentereast.com, or by telephone. Should I
give
you my number?
Yeah.
All right, again, the number is 516-695-4662.
And we're going to post that as well when people review it, so people can get actually in touch with you. Because I think what you bring up in the topics, people should definitely know about. It's definitely a changing market. I can see it, and people need to realize what's happening. Before we go to commercial, what are you doing in the future? Are you have any upcoming shows that you're going to be on? Are you writing any articles that we should be looking out for? What's your next step?
It's a continuation of the same, and by that I mean that we're providing lectures for accountants, for attorneys. We have several lined up. I'm not going to sit here and bore you and give you the information. Articles, just the other day I was advised that the New York State Bar Association, their law journal, invited me to post another article for the summer issue. And we have various articles, but they're all in professional organizations, in professional models that for the most part the general public may not access. What we're trying to do is we're trying to advise the advisor to be able to make his or her client aware of the problem. And by shows like this and by articles such as yours in the magazine, we're hoping to reach the ultimate beneficiary, because those are the people that are most at risk. Charitable organizations are losing their opportunity to get monies that people were kind enough to name them as beneficiaries, and many children of their parents are not going to be able to receive the insurance that they thought that they might be receiving simply because of that word that you mentioned before. The 85% of the insurance that people own is not guaranteed, and people just aren't aware of it.
Who do you want to meet in the business world? What other professionals will be able to help you reach your clients?
It's primarily the accountant, the attorney, the bank trust officer, the institutional. See, the tools are, excuse me, the tools are already there. Institutions have been using these tools for the last 15, 20 years, but the general public has not yet made themselves aware that those tools are there, that those tools can be used. What we're trying to do is to have the general public use those tools that are already there and just take advantage of them.
You know, coming from the insurance field, you know, one of our guests, which we'll get to right after the commercial, does reverse mortgages. And I think the synergy there could definitely be helpful to you. And we'll definitely hook you on today live and see what you guys can do together. But before we cut the commercial, like I said before, any last words or advice that you would like to give to your prospects or to the viewers?
Sure. Look, think of this. You have a stock portfolio, you have a bond portfolio. Ask yourself, how many times during the course of the week, a month, or a quarter do you get in touch with your wealth manager, with your broker, to find out about the performance, about the monitoring of your money? And then ask yourself the same question. How many times or how often have you last looked at your insurance contract, which, by the way, may be significantly larger than your investment portfolio? How many times have you actually looked there, and shouldn't you?
Great. I think those were perfect advice. So I thank you for staying. I thank you for this little segment.
And
I hope our viewers got a lot from you.
Thank you. And I'd like to thank you and
Please.
Bill for the opportunity. Thanks very much, guys.
My pleasure.
My pleasure.
We'll see you right after the break.